This morning we're in Galatians chapter 6, verse number 12 through 14. And I want to talk to you for just a moment about the weight of glory. The definition of glory is really simply or praise. And it carries the idea of weight. So where do you put the weight to, or the glory, or the honor, or the praise? And it's always a temptation for man to want the glory and honor for himself. We just see it all the time through the New Testament, especially with the Pharisees. So let's look at this for just a moment in Galatians chapter 6, verse number 12, where Paul says, "For as many desire to make a fair show of the flesh." And that's what so many are doing. They want the applause of men and the praise of men. And Paul is referring to those that desired that. And the background, of course, of that is Judaism. These men in Judaism wanted to enforce the law, and the reason they did was for a fair show of the flesh. That was it. They wanted to look good and look like they were something special in enforcing the law upon others. And so Paul was dealing with that, of course, in the book of Galatians. Stay with me for a moment. So as many as desire to have a fair show of the flesh. And again, I just want to mention what a great temptation that is for so many. And they constrain you to be circumcision only lest they, suffer persecution. So that's the other factor involved here. They didn't want to be persecuted, or if they were preaching, of course, you don't have to be circumcised or keep the law, then they could escape any kind of persecution. So there's a problem of integrity there, isn't there? Now notice verse 13. For neither they, of course, themselves are circumcised, keep the law, and that was the hypocrisy of it. You know, they weren't keeping the law anyhow, and really, I don't know if they even desired to do that. So he goes on, for not even they, that is these ones that are trying to make a fair show of the flesh, don't they themselves are who circumcised keep the law. So all we're saying here is they're trying to get folks to be circumcised, in order to keep the law, but they don't keep the law themselves, see. And so what he's going on, but desire to be circumcised that they might have glory in your flesh. Isn't that amazing? So they're trying to get other people to be circumcised or keep the law in order that they might have the applause and the praise and honor of others. How hypocritical, and what a paradox. So, but note, here's the verse we want to focus on, and as believers we want to embrace. And that's simply this: but God forbid that I should glory save in the cross of the Lord Jesus Christ. Now let me say something. All the glory, I mean, anybody thinking through this, all the glory and honor and praise goes to God and Jesus Christ, who died on the cross that we might be forgiven. How could it be anything else? And so we ought to be giving all the glory. And you remember that Jesus said, let men see your good works. Of course, the Pharisees wanted that for the applause. But what Jesus is saying, let men see your good works in order that they might glorify God your Father. So we have to think about it all the time, don't we? Now here's the temptation. There are men who seek recognition and applause and honor and glory, and what a dumb thing that is to do. And it's a sinful thing. And so what Paul is saying, and you think about Paul for just a moment, just the energy, the sacrifice, the life he lived, the things he accomplished, the achievements, and yet the bottom line was to all the glory and honor and praise to God. And that's what we want to do, don't we, as believers? Well, that's something to think about, isn't it? And let's give all the glory and honor and praise to God. It'll make a difference in your life. See you tomorrow.